A decorated military dog stands outside a maximum security prison in the middle of a thunderstorm. He's not lost. He's not waiting for his handler. He's here for one reason: to break out the man who saved his life in Afghanistan. This is the story of Rook, a dog who remembered every promise, every command, and every debt. And tonight, he's about to prove that loyalty has no bars. Chapter 1: The Storm. The rain came down hard that October night, turning the gravel road outside Riverside Correctional Facility into rivers of mud. Lightning split the sky every few seconds, illuminating the razor wire that crowned the perimeter fence. A Belgian Malinois stood motionless in the shadows beyond the outer fence. His coat was soaked through, but he didn't move. His eyes, dark and intelligent, remained fixed on the east wing of the prison, where a single window glowed yellow against the storm. The dog's name was Rook. 43 combat missions in Afghanistan, 3 Purple Hearts, more confirmed saves than any handler could count. And tonight, he was about to do something no military working dog had ever attempted. 2 days earlier, Rook had walked through those same prison gates during visiting hours. His handler, Silas, had brought him to see an inmate named Declan Mercer. The guards had allowed it. Service dogs were permitted during visitation, and Silas had all the proper paperwork. What the guards didn't know was that Declan Mercer had saved Rook's life in Kandahar province 7 years ago. It had been a routine patrol when the lead vehicle hit the IED. The explosion flipped a 5-ton truck like a toy. Rook flew 30 feet through the air and slammed into the rocky ground. Both back legs shattered. Ribs cracked. Internal bleeding started immediately. Gunfire erupted from the hills. Bullets kicked up dust everywhere. Men were shouting, taking cover, returning fire. Declan ran straight into the kill zone. He sprinted across open ground while bullets snapped past his head, scooped up Rook, all 70-pound him, and started running. A bullet caught his shoulder, spinning him halfway around. Another grazed his thigh. He kept running. The convoy was pinned down. The medevac couldn't land. Radio crackled with orders to hold position. Declan ignored all of it. He ran 3 miles back to base through enemy territory with a bullet in his shoulder and a dying dog in his arms, whispering promises the whole way. "Just hold on, Rook. I'll get you home. I swear it." By the time he stumbled through the FOB gates, his uniform was soaked with blood. His vision was tunneling. But he didn't stop until he reached the medical tent. "I need a medic," he shouted. "Now!" The medics tried to pull him toward a gurney. "Not me," Declan said. "The dog. Help the dog first." They tried to argue, but Declan wouldn't let go of Rook until a veterinary team took him. Only then did Declan collapse. Rook survived. The surgeries took months. But he walked again, ran again, served again. Declan had kept his promise. Now, 7 years later, standing in the rain outside a maximum security prison, Rook was about to return the favor. Chapter 2: The Debt. 6 months after returning stateside, Declan had been at a bar in Tucson, trying to forget the desert, trying to forget the sound of explosions, trying to forget the faces of men who didn't make it home. The bar was called a copper mine. A dive with sticky floors, neon beer signs, and a jukebox that only played country. Declan sat at the corner, nursing a whiskey, when the fight started. 2 guys arguing over a pool game. Voices getting louder. One accused the other of cheating. Shoving started. Then one of them, a guy in a leather jacket with tattoos crawling up his neck, pulled a knife. The blade caught the light. 8 inches of steel. The bar went quiet. Declan's training kicked in before his brain could catch up. He was off his stool and moving. Years of combat reflexes, of reacting to threats, of protecting his unit. "Hey!" Declan stepped between them, hands up, palms out. "Easy. Nobody needs to get hurt here." The guy with the knife was drunk and angry, his eyes wild. "Get out of my face, soldier boy." "Just put the knife down," Declan said calmly. "Walk away. Game's not worth it." The guy swung, wild and sloppy but fast. Declan caught his wrist mid-swing, twisted hard, and the knife clattered to the floor. The guy stumbled backward, off balance. Then the other guy, the one Declan had been trying to protect, threw a punch that connected with the knife wielder's temple. The sound was sickening, a wet crack that echoed through the suddenly silent bar. The man went down. His head hit the corner of the pool table on the way. He didn't get back up, didn't move. Blood pooled beneath his skull, spreading across the worn wooden floor. The guy who threw the punch looked at Declan, eyes wide with panic. Then he bolted, out the back door, before anyone could stop him, gone into the Tucson night. Declan stood there, frozen. The knife was at his feet. The dead man was 3 feet away, and every witness in that bar was staring at him. By the time the police arrived, the story had already changed. The bartender said Declan started it. 2 regulars at the bar said they saw Declan throw the punch, said he'd been looking for a fight all night. The guy who actually did it vanished. No name, no description anyone could agree on. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Silas Brennan sat in the courtroom every single day, watching his best friend's life fall apart. He testified, told the jury exactly what Declan had told him, that he'd been trying to stop the fight, not start it, that the real aggressor had walked out the back door. But Declan had no other witnesses, no surveillance footage, just his word against a bar full of locals who wanted the whole thing to go away. The defense attorney was overworked and underpaid. The prosecutor was hungry for conviction. The jury was tired and wanted to go home. They deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty, involuntary manslaughter, 7 years, maximum security. Silas visited every month for the first 2 years. Then every other month, they'd talk about nothing, sports, weather, memories from before everything went wrong. Declan never complained, never asked for anything, just served his time and waited. Then, 18 months ago, Silas got the diagnosis. Stage 4 lung cancer. The kind that doesn't respond to treatment. The kind that gives you a timeline instead of hope. 6 months. Maybe 8 if he was lucky. Silas stopped visiting after that. Not because he didn't care, but because he couldn't look Declan in the eye knowing he was about to break the promise he'd made. The promise that he'd find the truth, that he'd get Declan out. But then, 3 months ago, Silas woke up in the middle of the night with Rook's head on his chest. The dog had been whining in his sleep, dreaming, probably, and that's when it hit him. He remembered Kandahar. He remembered watching Declan carry a dying dog 3 miles through enemy fire because he'd made a promise. And Declan had kept it. Now it was Silas's turn. But Silas couldn't break into a prison. His body was failing him. His hands shook. His lungs burned with every breath. He could barely walk without stopping to rest. Rook, however, could go places humans couldn't. Chapter 3, The Plan. Silas spent 2 weeks studying Riverside Correctional Facility like it was an enemy compound. He drove past it at different times of day, watched the guard rotations, noted the shift changes, mapped the perimeter, counted the cameras, timed the patrols. He sat in his truck with binoculars and a notebook, coughing into his sleeve, writing down everything. The East Wing had the weakest security, older construction, fewer cameras, a blind spot near the loading dock where kitchen deliveries came in twice a week. Declan was in cell block E, 3rd floor, East Wing, window facing the perimeter road. Silas knew he couldn't get Declan out, not legally, not through appeals or lawyers or new evidence. He'd tried all of that. The system had chewed Declan up and wasn't letting go. But maybe, just maybe, he could give Declan a chance. The plan was insane. Silas knew that, but he'd seen what Rook could do. He'd watched that dog navigate minefields, track targets through urban warfare zones, and execute commands with precision that would make Navy SEALs jealous. If anyone could pull this off, it was Rook. The first visit was reconnaissance. Silas brought Rook through the main gates with all the proper paperwork. Service dog, emotional support. The guards barely glanced at them. They'd seen plenty of veterans bringing dogs to visit inmates. Declan's face when he saw Rook nearly broke Silas's heart. The big man dropped to his knees in the visiting room, and Rook went straight to him. No hesitation. 7 years hadn't changed anything. The bond was still there. "Hey, boy," Declan whispered, his voice thick. "Hey, Rook, I miss you too." While Declan buried his face in Rook's fur, Silas talked, kept his voice low, told Declan about the cancer, about the timeline, about what he was planning. "You're insane," Declan said, not looking up. "They'll shoot him." "Not if he's fast enough," Silas said. "And he's the fastest dog I've ever seen." "Silas, you carried him 3 miles through a firefight. You took 2 bullets for him. You kept your promise." Silas leaned forward. "Now let me keep mine." The second visit, Silas brought tools. Hidden in Rook's service vest, the kind with pockets for medical supplies and gear, wire cutters, a small pry bar, a flashlight, all wrapped in cloth to keep them from rattling. Rook sat perfectly still while Declan removed each item, memorizing where they were placed. The dog's eyes tracked every movement, learning, understanding. "He'll need to get through 2 fences," Silas explained, pointing to the crude map he'd drawn on a napkin. "The outer perimeter is chain link, 8 feet. No barbed wire on the east side, budget cuts. The inner fence is 12 feet with razor wire on top, but there's a drainage culvert underneath. Runs from the kitchen to the road. Big enough for him to crawl through." "And then what?" Declan asked. "Even if he gets in, how does he get me out?" Silas pulled out another item from Rook's vest. A small plastic bag containing a guard uniform patch, a key card, and a handcuff key. "Where the hell did you get these?" "Don't ask." Silas coughed into his fist. "There's a supply closet on the 3rd floor. East wing. Guard uniforms. If you can get to it." "That's a lot of ifs." "It's all I've got." Silas met his friend's eyes. "I'm dying, December. I've got maybe 2 months left. This is my last mission. Let me finish it." Declan was quiet for a long time. His hand rested on Rook's head, fingers working through the thick fur. The dog leaned into the touch, eyes half closed. Finally, Declan nodded. "When?" "Next storm. Big one. The kind that knocks out power and keeps the guards inside. Weather says there's a system coming in 3 days." They spent the rest of the visit going over details. Guard schedules, camera blind spots, the exact location of Declan's cell, the route from there to the supply closet, to the loading dock. Rook watched them both, head tilting at certain words, commands he recognized, places he was memorizing. When the visit ended, Silas gave Rook one final command in Pashto, a language they'd use in Afghanistan for operations, a language the guards wouldn't understand. "Zamaror," Silas whispered. "My brother." Rook's ears perked up. His body went rigid with attention. "Ruse," Silas said. "Save him." The dog's eyes locked onto Declan, then back to Silas. Understanding passed between them, something deeper than training, deeper than commands, a promise made in a language older than words. 3 days later, the storm came, and Rook was ready. Chapter 4, The Breach. The storm hit Riverside at 9:47 p.m. Thunder rolled across the desert like artillery fire. Lightning turned the night into strobing daylight. Rain came down in sheets, so thick the guard towers became gray shadows in the darkness. Rook waited in the tree 200 yards from the outer fence. His body was coiled tight, every muscle ready. Silas sat in his truck 50 yards behind him, binoculars pressed his eyes, radio scanner crackling with prison chatter. East Tower reporting reduced visibility. A voice said through the static, requesting permission to move inside until storm passes. Permission granted. All exterior patrols suspended until conditions improve. Silas keyed his radio. A short-range unit connected to the receiver hidden in Rook's collar. Go. Rook moved. He was a shadow in the storm. Low to the ground. Fast. Covering the 200 yards in seconds. The outer fence loomed ahead. 8 feet of chain link. Just like Silas had said. No barbed wire on this section. Budget cuts and bureaucracy had left a gap in the prison's defenses. Rook didn't hesitate. He hit the fence at full speed and climbed. His claws found purchase in the links. His powerful legs drove him upward. In 3 seconds, he was over the top and dropping to the other side. He landed in a crouch and froze. Listening, watching. A camera swept past, its lens pointed toward the main gate. Rook waited for it to pan away, then sprinted across the open ground toward the inner fence. This one was taller, 12 feet, razor wire coiled along the top like steel serpents. But Silas had been right about the drainage culvert. Rook could see it now, a concrete pipe running under the fence, half filled with rainwater rushing toward the road. The opening was narrow, maybe 2 feet wide. Rook dropped to his belly and crawled in. The water was cold and moving fast. It soaked through his fur, pulled at his legs. The concrete scraped his sides. The darkness was absolute. But Rook had been in worse. In tunnels in Kandahar where insurgents hid, in collapsed buildings where survivors were buried, in places where only his nose and his training kept him alive. He pushed forward, inch by inch. The pipe seemed to go on forever. His lungs burned. His shoulders screamed. Then he saw light ahead, the other end of the culvert. Rook emerged on the prison side of the inner fence, water streaming off his coat. He shook once hard, then moved toward the east wing. The loading dock was exactly where Silas said it would be. A concrete platform with a metal roll-up door. 2 dumpsters. A single security light that flickered in the storm. And, most importantly, a service door with a broken lock that maintenance had been meaning to fix for 3 weeks. Rook nosed the door open and slipped inside. The hallway was empty. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The smell hit him immediately. Industrial cleaner, sweat, fear, desperation. The smell of cage men. He moved down the corridor, staying close to the wall. His nails clicked softly on the linoleum. Every few seconds, he'd pause. Listen. His ears swiveled, tracking sounds. Voices from the guard station 2 floors up. A television playing somewhere. The rattle of cell doors. The hum of ventilation. The stairwell was at the end of the hall. Rook climbed quickly, taking the steps 2 at a time. First floor. Second floor. Third floor. Cell block E. The hallway stretched ahead, 30 cells on each side. Barred doors. Narrow windows. Men sleeping or pretending to sleep. A few noticed a dog moving past their cells. Eyes widened, mouths opened, but no one made a sound. Something about the way Rook moved, purposeful, military, dangerous, kept them quiet. Declan's cell was the 14th on the left. Rook stopped in front of it. Declan was already awake, sitting on his bunk, waiting, when he saw Rook. Something broke in his expression, relief and disbelief and hope all at once. "Hey, boy," he whispered. Rook approached the bars. The vest he wore was heavier now, weighted with the tools Silas had packed. Declan reached through and carefully removed each item. Wire cutters, pry bar, the plastic bag with the guard uniform patch and keys. "You're insane," Declan muttered. "Both of you." Rook's tail wagged once. Mission accomplished. Phase 1 complete. Declan worked quickly. The cell lock was old, mechanical, not electronic. The kind that could be picked if you knew what you were doing. And Declan had learned a lot in 7 years. The handcuff key from Silas's package fit into the lock mechanism. With the pry bar for leverage and the wire cutters to manipulate the tumblers, it took him 4 minutes. The lock clicked open. Declan eased the cell door open, wincing at every creak of metal. The hallway was still empty. The guard station was at the far end, around a corner, out of sight. But the guards did rounds every 30 minutes. They'd been through 10 minutes ago. That gave them 20 minutes. Maybe less. "Supply closet," Declan whispered. "Third door on the right." They moved together, man and dog, the way they had in Afghanistan. Rook led, senses alert for any threat. Declan followed, staying low, staying quiet. The supply closet was unlocked. Inside, shelves of cleaning supplies, maintenance equipment, and hanging on hooks along the back wall, 3 guard uniforms. Declan grabbed one, pulled on over his prison jumpsuit. The fit wasn't perfect, but in the dim light and the chaos of storm, it might be enough. He clipped the guard patch to his shoulder, took a deep breath. "Okay, Rook," he said. "Now comes the hard part." Chapter 5, The Escape. The guard uniform felt wrong on Declan's body. Too tight across the shoulders, too loose at the waist. But it would have to do. He tucked his prison jumpsuit into a trash bag from the supply closet and shoved it behind a shelf. No going back now. Rook stood at the door, ears forward, body tense, waiting for the command. Declan checked his watch. 17 minutes until the next guard rotation. The loading dock was 2 floors down and 100 yards a corridor away. In a normal prison, on a normal night, they'd never make it. But tonight wasn't normal. The storm was hammering the building. Thunder shook the walls. The emergency lighting had kicked on in some sections where the power flickered. And everyone's attention was on keeping the inmates locked down, not on what might be moving through the hallways. "Ruse," Declan whispered. The Pashto command Silas had taught Rook. "Lead." The dog moved into the hallway. Declan followed, trying to walk like he belonged there. Shoulders back. Steady pace. Just another guard doing rounds during a storm. They made it to the stairwell without incident. Rook descended first, pausing at each landing to check for threats. The second floor was clear. They kept moving. First floor. Voices echoed up from below. 2 guards, maybe 3, talking near the ground-level entrance. Declan froze. Rook's ears swiveled, tracking the conversation. Supposed to clear up by midnight. Told Jenkins to check the east wing generator. Dog got loose or something. Maintenance said they saw paw prints near the loading dock. Declan's heart hammered. They knew, not everything, but enough to start looking. He had maybe 5 minutes before someone checked the security footage, before they realized those paw prints led inside, before they discovered his cell was empty. Rook looked back at him. The dog's eyes were calm, focused, waiting for orders. Declan made a decision. "Go," he whispered, pointing down the stairs. "Ruse." Rook bolted. He hit the ground floor at full speed, a blur of fur and muscle. The guards shouted in surprise. One reached for his radio. Another went for his weapon. But Rook wasn't attacking. He was running. Past them. Through them. A distraction in canine form. What the hell? Is that a dog? How did it get in here? They chased after Rook, boots pounding on linoleum, radios crackling with confused reports. And in the chaos, Declan slipped down the stairs and turned the opposite direction, toward the loading dock. The corridor was empty now. Everyone had gone after the dog. Declan ran. His lungs burned. His legs, weakened by 7 years of prison routine, screamed in protest. But he didn't stop. The loading dock door was ahead. 50 feet. 40. 30. Behind him, an alarm started blaring. A mechanical wail that cut through even the thunder. Lockdown protocol. They'd found his empty cell. 20 feet. Voices shouted from somewhere behind him. "East wing. We've got a runner." 10 feet. Declan hit the door at full speed and burst onto the loading dock. Rain slammed into him like a physical force. The storm had intensified. Lightning cracked overhead, turning the world white for a split second. He jumped off the platform and ran toward the inner fence. His boots splashed through puddles. The guard uniform was already soaked through. Behind him, the door crashed open. Flashlight beams cut through the rain. "Stop. Get on the ground." Declan kept running. The inner fence loomed ahead. 12 feet of chain link and razor wire. No way over. But the drainage culvert, the same one Rook had used, was there. Water rushing through it. His only chance. He dropped and crawled in. The water was deeper now. Faster. It pulled at him, tried to drag him back toward the prison. The concrete scraped his back through the guard uniform. The space was tighter than he'd expected. Claustrophobia clawed at his throat. Behind him, flashlights swept the loading dock. He went into the culvert. Get someone on the other side. Declan pushed forward, inch by inch, his shoulders wedged against the concrete. For a terrible moment, he thought he was stuck, that he'd drown in 2 feet of water in a drainage pipe, while guards waited on both ends. Then something grabbed his wrist. He nearly screamed before he realized what it was. Rook, the dog, had circled back, had somehow evaded the guards, and was now on the other side of culvert. His jaws were clamped gently but firmly around Declan's wrist, pulling. Declan pushed with his legs. Rook pulled with everything he had. Together, they dragged Declan to the last 10 feet of pipe. He emerged on the prison side of the inner fence, gasping, covered in mud and water. Rook released his wrist and barked once. Move. The outer fence was still ahead. Guards were shouting. Flashlights swept the perimeter. A siren wailed from the guard tower. Declan ran for the outer fence. His body was beyond exhausted. His vision tunneled. But Rook was beside him, matching his pace, and that gave him strength. They hit the fence together. Declan climbed. His hands were numb. His arms shook. Rook went up beside him, claws finding purchase in the chain link. A gunshot cracked through the storm. The bullet hit the fence 2 feet from Declan's head, sparking off the metal. Next one won't miss, a guard shouted from below. Declan reached the top, swung his leg over. Drop. He hit the ground hard on the other side. Pain exploded through his ankle. Rook landed beside him, already moving toward the tree line. Headlights flared in the darkness. Silas's truck, engine running, passenger door open. Move! Silas shouted. Declan limped forward. Rook reached the truck first, leaping into the cab. Declan dove in after him. Silas hit the gas before the door was even closed. The truck fishtailed on the muddy road, then found traction. They accelerated into the storm, leaving Riverside Correctional Facility behind. In the rear-view mirror, Declan watched the prison lights fade into the rain. He was free. Chapter 7, The Confrontation. 3 days later, Marcus Vega confessed everything. It wasn't dramatic. No movie-style breakdown. Just a scared man in a parking lot with Rook's teeth inches from his throat and Silas's evidence spread across the hood of his truck. He signed the confession, agreed to testify. The DEA took it from there. 2 weeks after that, Declan's conviction was overturned, but Silas never saw it happen. The hospice room was small and quiet. Afternoon sunlight filtered through thin curtains. Machines beeped softly, counting down the hours. Declan sat beside the bed, holding Silas's hand. It felt impossibly light, like his friend was already halfway gone. Rook lay on the bed itself, against regulations, but no one had the heart to move him. His head rested on Silas's chest, rising and falling with each labored breath. You did it, Declan whispered, voice breaking. I'm free. You kept your promise. Silas's eyes opened. Barely. We kept it. All three of us. His hand moved weakly to Rook's head. The dog whined, a sound of pure heartbreak that no training could suppress. Take care of him, Silas breathed. He's yours now. I will. I swear it. Tears streamed down Declan's face. I swear on everything we were, everything we are. Good. A ghost of a smile touched Silas's lips. Good soldier, best friend I ever had. Declan didn't know if Silas meant him or Rook. Maybe both. The machine's beeping slowed. Rook pressed closer, as if he could hold Silas here through sheer will, through loyalty that transcended death itself. Silas took one last breath, his hand still resting on Rook's fur, and let go. 6 months later, Declan stood on a hillside overlooking the desert where they'd trained together a lifetime ago. Silas's ashes scattered on the wind, catching the sunset, becoming part of the land he'd fought for. Rook sat beside him, gray creeping into his muzzle now, but eyes still sharp, still watching, still protecting. He saved us both, Declan said quietly, his voice steady now. Strong. Gave us both a second chance when the world said we were done. Rook leaned against his leg, the same way he had in Kandahar, in prison, in that hospice room. A promise kept, a debt repaid, a bond that not even death could break. And together, man and dog, brothers in arms, they walked into the fading light.